Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the $500 minimum 44 variant for November 16th. It's currently myself, Lano, here live in the UMG studio, of course, casting this one for you guys. Of course, we've had Jen for the rest, or the earlier parts of tonight. Of course, she's currently taking care of a few things, but she should be back, of course, for the later parts of tonight's tournament. But, of course, we're currently in our quarterfinal matchup. We've got Luminosity Gaming going up against Gravity Gaming as well. Of course, Gravity, hot off a win versus the side of Merkin Clan. Of course, they were just previously on stream. We saw some pretty good moments coming in from Gravity. They started off very well on their hardpoint game on Arden Forest, and they moved into the search and destroy on USS Texas and continued to destroy. However, when it comes down to facing off against a very talented team like Luminosity, the overall skill is starting to raise up, kind of going to that overall higher point of view, as it will be a difficult fight for Gravity Gaming. Of course, LG previously playing in the MLG 2K, which of course took place last weekend, where they ended up finishing off in second place following to Opti Gaming in the grand finals. Of course, if you are new to competitive Call of Duty, or maybe haven't watched it since Infinite Warfare last took place, of course, this is a new LG team. This is new faces now on the LG roster. Of course, familiar faces when it comes down to the Call of Duty esports scene. Of course, John and JKap coming from Team Envious, joining alongside of Octane and Slacked. Of course, in place, a few other members is JKap, finding one with a nice melee there. Of course, having the infantry rocked, and for good measure at that. As, of course, team changes have happened quite a bit amongst the Call of Duty esports scene. LG, as well as Envy, of course, being mixtured in here with our current roster of Luminosity Gaming. But regardless, looking on, as is LG with a little bit of a lead right now here in Fort Courtyard. Big hill coming up. That one going to be, in some cases, kind of considered the money hill when it comes down to this map. Of course, going toward Castle Road. It is currently the side of Gravity Gaming, who do have those spawns, and Hate holding a massive position right now inside a cave, watching that flank, because of course he does have his three other teammates watching forward. And as Octane finds a big kill there onto Anihmal, that is going to break up the initial setup. So the question being, does Hate rotate back around, or does he continue to watch this flank? Of course, realizing that his team is taking some fire, has to rotate back forward, and it will be a successful hold, but only for the time being. John starting off incredibly well, has over double the amount of kills as the player in second place to his team. He's already got 10, and it looks like it is Gravity Gaming not trying to give up this hill, and not trying to give up what was a little bit of a comeback. JKap toward the back lines, PPSH in hand. He ends up dropping to Skyz, and Skyz was a major performer in our search and destroy on USS Texas. Of course, for map 2 against their last matchup against Merkin Clan, was doing a lot of work with that sniper rifle, and just goes to show he can do it a lot when it comes down to the slaying, as well as the patient waiting and search and destroy, as well as here in Hardpoint, gaining the last few seconds. And of course, what was a fantastic start toward LG has now turned in only a 10-point advantage. As we rotate our way here toward turret, it will be the side of LG who currently has that spawn control, as well as the hardpoint advantage, as Slack holding onto that Molotov, waiting for the push to be made forward, but he actually whiffs the Molotov throw. And with that, it's not going to limit anyone coming through those stairs. In fact, it only limits him to actually holding back. But John doing a fantastic job at this PPSH, being a constant nuisance in the face of Gravity Gaming. This man is 14-8. It is on track for potentially 40 to 45 kills. Playing incredibly strong as John tags up one, takes out one from cave window, and has earned himself a Molotov along with a kill. John absolutely destroying right now, double positive, and is on a 4 spree, and could easily have some streaks to join alongside of LG's dominant lead up to this point. 103 to 64 looking on. John is making that PPSH look even stronger than Bar, which is a very difficult task to make happen. But of course, as turret does come to a close, our first set of rotations are as well. And it will be a 112 to 64 lead. And as we rotate here back toward middle, looking at that right side scorecard, of course, like we said, John playing incredibly well right now, +6 at the moment. And for the side of Gravity Gaming, they're still trying to hold on. They're still in this one. Skyz currently sitting at 12-9, along with Hate sitting at 10-9 as well. We'll take a look at exactly how the position is going for either of these teams. The Skyz is able to shut down one. You see John yet again just filling up the kill feed, finding 3 again off of that respawn. And I think we definitely need to be highlighting John right now, who does have that Molotov and is not far away from that fighter pilot and glide bomb either. Gaining time, of course, has 35 seconds inside of the hill and shuts down Hate from a long range. is being a major difference maker so far in this hardpoint as Skyz throws the nades from above. MShake trying to do some damage as well is on this flank, and MShake needs to make somewhat of a performance. If he can at least maybe find a kill or two, that could have changed the overall spawn control if he had some teammate support, but neither of those happen. And while it is Gravity Gaming off that rotation, it is currently our second hardpoint inside of Fort Courtyard, currently held by LG yet again. Slack ends up dropping from the side, and this is a good early frags that are coming through, but John still holding tough, and Octane just back in his spawn, trying to do some damage from range. That's exactly what the FG42 can provide you. And it looks like along with those shots, he's also getting some nades down as well, as much damage as he can possibly muster up. And it will be LG who successfully holds the hard point for the time being. It is Gravity, who's definitely playing pretty well, but the question being, do they try to rush this one out? It looks like Skyz still trying to cause a little bit of an effort, and now is going to use those efforts into grabbing that hill control and now trying to delay the side of LG to getting toward that next hill. As JKap holding down the final seconds, looking on as Gravity trying to make that quick rotation. They did a great job at holding this hill last time around, and that was the reason why the score has and was as close as it's been. But a major kill comes in from John, as this man is 24-13, tossing at the Molotov, limiting sightlines, and trying to engage on Hate, who was trying to watch the flank. But Skyz comes through with a big two-piece, along with MShake finding the third. LG now on the back foot as they've dropped a few players. We're now trying to get back inside this hard point. Of course, JKap switching to the PPSH class, and it looks like he will fall. Here comes John, the one-man wrecking crew, finding one and looking for others. Hate just in front of him. Can he shut down this player up close and personal? But no, Hate has some interesting words for John as he hits the melee, and it is the sign of Gravity Gaming, who's getting some time. Granted, it's spotting. It's not as much as it was in the first set of rotations, but it is time nonetheless. JKap holding down some time, at least scrap time at that, as MShake will go for the challenge to shut down JKap most likely. So as he falls, it will be the rotation gain here for Gravity. So doing a great job at rotating these past two hills. And right now, based off of our early rotations, we're seeing LG trying to force their way forward. Here comes the nade from Slack. This should do some damage. And I like the team play there. You obviously see double nades being rocked, both limiting and damaging one, and the other nade finishing off the kill. You see from long range, JKap swapping classes back now toward the FG42. MShake actually kills himself with the Molotov, along with finding one on John. Slack getting some easy hill time thanks to the overwatching look there from JKap. And with John lingering around the map, this is constant problems, of course, for Gravity. And Slack playing passively, rocking the FG42, as they've got 3 ARs who could do a lot of damage on this map, being Slack, being Octane, as well as being JKap. When we talk about dominance and we talk about overall control, it has been the sub-play from this man here, Jonathan, doing dominance. And on a map like Gibraltar, which is kind of catered toward those ARs. We constantly talk about the FMJ on the ARs, the amount of control that you can get when holding up top. But John showing exactly why the PPSH is a solid gun to use. Now 33-19 has earned yet again another Molotov, and he should be able to find a kill most likely on Skyz. But no, Skyz able to dodge that one for the time, as it is only 5 more seconds needed for LG to close this one out. JKap has earned streaks, but it's just icing on the cake as this one gets ended out early. And to no one's surprise, as map number 1 ends in a pretty dominant way, JKap finding 3 here in our Bronze Star, shutting down Skyz for the last. But it will be 250 to, I believe that was 129. I want to say, or maybe 125. Yes, 129 there from Gravity Gaming. So definitely had some good moments with Gravity. They really were trying to rely on that Castle Road hill, trying to do some damage, trying to get that hill. And that can kind of be considered for this map the money hill for the most part. But it was John Slang. Finishes off 33-20 with that PPSH. He had slacked JKap and Octane for the most part, rocking with ARs out. And I was kind of surprised to see slacked throughout that map, rocking the FG42 for the most part. I know a lot of teams kind of prefer the bar rather than the FG42 for at least the time being. Of course, metas can change, teams as well can have different strategies for the most part, but was surprised to see that kind of coming out of the side of Luminosity Gaming. Definitely playing strong and living up to the title of the team who's currently, and in some cases, considered the second best team in the game if you do kind of rely off of the only online tournament, at least the only online tournament with every single top team in it being the MLG 2K, which took place last weekend. But like I said, map number 1 in the books, of course. Now looking at map number 2, that one, Search and Destroy on St. Marie Dumont. Very curious to see how that one does play out. Of course, expecting to see quite a few pushes over toward that radio tower bomb site. Question being, can Gravity Gaming at least force a map number 3, or is this one done in 2? I'm saying it's done in 2. I think John's going to be way too strong with that SMG up close. However, can we see Gravity Gaming weather the storm like they did versus Merkin Clan? It's a different team, much different skill gap. We'll see if they can get it done regardless, and we'll find out that information when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to the $500 minimum 4v4 variant for November 16th. It's myself, Lano, here live from the UMG studio. We're hopping in here toward our second map for our current quarterfinal match. Of course, we've got the side of Luminosity Gaming going up against Gravity Gaming, and what should be a very interesting one to watch. It was the side of LG who took map number 1 on Gibraltar 250 to 129, and to, I think, pretty much no one's surprise, it was an LG victory, especially when it comes down to a hardpoint map. But looking on, 2 versus 2. Nice turn on there from MShake, along with the suppressing fire from Hate, but now Hate left all by himself, slacked, rocking the pistol, and JKap holding that great line sight, as he will find the hat trick along with the defuse, getting closer toward that fighter pilot, along with the glide bomb as well. So a very well fought out round there from LG, and expect to see many more pushes toward this exact bomb site here on Radio Tower. A lot of pressure going to be forced when it comes down to that particular site, as it's definitely the offense's choice. I would say probably 8 times out of 10. Now, granted, you will see some pushes toward A on occasion. However, the overall control of this B bomb site is so much better. And trying to limit yourself in this kind of open square can lead to exactly what I was getting ready to say. Early nade kills. Knowing and doing your homework pays off when it comes into Search and Destroy, especially in World War II. How dominant nades can be can absolutely play a huge factor, as LG quickly shutting down 2, shutting down 3, and pre-firing the 4th as Anihmal last alive will shut down John for his troubles, but at this point, most likely waving the white flag as 24 seconds begin to tick off the clock, and Slacked, holding a head glitch, will pick off Anihmal as it is 2 rounds straight, as both offensive and defensively LG holding strong, and really the major factor and the reason why this round ends the way it does in a 1 versus 3 for Anihmal is those early 2 frags that come out from the start here toward that B bomb site. I want to know a statistic when how many teams can win a 2 versus 4, especially being on the defensive end with the bomb down. How often does that ever take place? And I'm sure that is a statistic where LG will live by for a while. As Hate able to find the first blood on Octane, at least some signs of life for Gravity, especially already being down, and kind of being hammered down, rather, after that map number 1 loss. Anihmal yet again could spot John in top restaurant, and will do exactly that. And keep in mind where the bomb is going. It's going over toward A, based on the minimap, as it is a 4 versus 2 in favor of Gravity. Slacked and JKap, both who have yet to die, have to make that rotation over and may have to sacrifice that flawless overall kill total, and adding an unfortunate one beside it, but maybe a round could come of it. We'll see if that is the case, as JKap shuts down 1, but not enough, as it will be a round finally in the books for Gravity, as being down 3-0, especially already losing a map number 1 in a best of 3, as Hate holds a nice little line sight. Of course, 1 bullet would do, but regardless, a nice little line sight gain there from Hate. It is some nice momentum gain here for the side of Gravity. As like I said, being down 3-0 after already losing a map number 1 could be difficult. And speaking of difficulties, JKap finding 1 kill in that last round equals him out to earning some streaks. And adding on to those as John finds 1. As it could be a rude awakening if you're Gravity Gaming, not maybe being fully aware of the streaks that could be in the possession of JKap, and with having a one-man advantage right now, not necessarily needing to use those streaks. So maybe finding this round along with a guaranteed other. Hate left in a 1 versus 3, now a 1 versus 2. They do know his position, and kind of back-to-back right now is JKap and Slacked, as neither will be needed for a team push. A bait and switch not needed. It's all about the gun skill. It's all about the positioning. Is JKap holding down in this line sight? And of course, on this B-bomb site, like I said, yet again, time after time after time, LG, this is the map where they can absolutely destroy on that particular bomb site, because once they establish control, it's so hard to retake, especially if you have restaurant control. And that's where we've been seeing a guy like John be roaming constantly. As the nades will come through, we'll see if it does affect any of the Gravity Gaming members. Off the break, a few misses, and LG playing a little bit passively, but here comes the streak, here comes the molly, and trying to pick one off as no one has dropped just yet. But here comes the glide bomb. You see Anihmal hopping off the site, and John is there for the pickup. A great streakage use, because of course you see the player start to rotate in the bomb site, and it works out well. But you got to be thinking, as that glide bomb comes in, they have to be expecting someone over on this site, over on the opposite one on A, and it is Slack making the rotation. This is a big kill, and if you're Shake, you have to find it. He doesn't do so, so now it's a 2 versus 2. Hate and Skyz nowhere to have a line set on the bomb. Just as I say that, Skyz thankfully has this one locked down through middle, but he needs his teammate to stay up. Skyz doing great things, shuts down one, and now a one-on-one Slacked going for the defuse, and Hate most likely not expecting this. He needs to check the site. He has the Molotov out, but can Slack get this one through is the question. I believe he burns up. Does that one go their way? And it looks like the Molotov will come through, and yes, Hate just in the nick of time, as Slack couldn't weather the flames for much longer. A crucial kill coming in if you are Gravity, as in the narrowest of times, a round that you have to gain if you want to stay alive in this series versus a very talented team like Luminosity. But looking on, JKap still with some streaks in his back pocket, as I believe he's the only one who currently is in possession of those. And Hate currently sitting at 6-3, no streaks for him. So no one besides JKap with any outside encounters that we could be witnessing as the first kill comes in. Anihmal dropping, and if you're Gravity, you cannot allow stuff like that to happen over and over and over again. As MShake thankfully was there for the trade, and Slack yet again holding this line sight does spot out MShake. And now MShake in this position is realizing that, hey, a pinch could happen at any moment, so I have to rush forward. Does shut down Slacked. The one coming from the side, he can't stay alive for much longer. And now Hate left in a 1 versus 2. You can see Gravity feeling the pressure, as Hate has given away his position and has to go for the awkward challenge. I would say has to, doesn't really need to, but in the position that he was at, it's a difficult situation to try and stay alive in. And if you notice, every single kill cam that we have seen from LG up until this point, especially when they went around, has been holding a head glitch and holding a head glitch on the B-bomb side. This is where they roam. This is where they feel confident, and they're letting the side of Gravity Gaming come to them. And the reason why they're allowed to make Gravity Gaming come to them is finding those first bloods. Those first bloods have been crucial. The nades, the early SMG play coming in from John, they're making Gravity Gaming make the mistakes. And if Gravity wants a chance back into this map, they can allow it to drop. And just like that, they're letting John get easy 2 pieces. Hate is thankfully there for the pickup. But what is it if you've already lost a man, especially being on offense now? So Bomb is dropped in an awkward position. Hate still looking on because he's not exactly sure where anyone else could be roaming. Spots the head of Octane. Slack goes for the dolphin dive. And now Skyz and Hate are most likely communicating and saying, how do we get to this bomb? How do we pick off one into the top restaurant? And Skyz is saying, well, I have a plan. Hate shuts down Octane. And now it's a 2 versus 2. JKap from a long range, no longer ADSing a Skyz. And now, Hate left all by himself, 1 versus 2. The bait and switch coming out, but Hate not going to deal with it, but might have to go for the challenge sooner or later. He's finding hit markers in LG, going to park the bus. They don't need a challenge. Slacked has an idea, or has a line sight on the bomb. And this is, in some cases, a throwaway round. This will be 5 rounds to 2 in favor of the side of LG. And what do you know? Another final kill cam, and another one where LG is holding head glitch on this B site. Wow. Pretty crazy, huh? Insane stuff to see. 5 rounds to 2. Of course, one more round needed for LG to move on toward our semifinal for tonight's tournament. And Hate, for the side of Gravity Gaming, looking on as he's sitting at 8-5, tied with JKap for second most kills in the entire lobby. There's a setup there for Octane. Not sure if he had a sniper rifle out. Had to check him for it a moment. Most likely was not the case, but due to where he was positioned, it's by no means unnecessary if he were to rocket. And Hate, unfortunate position to be in. 1 versus 3. And I believe John was just around him, or no, just happens to be in the same building. And Hate should get spotted out here very shortly. Shuts down JKap for his troubles, but there is the pickup. 9 kills for Hate. But one that goes in the books is just a loss. As John, yet again, being in the final kill cam with that PPSH was a huge factor when it came down to the hard point, as well as in the search and destroy. Finishes off 11-7. Octane didn't really need to do much more than just grab a few kills when it was needed, because the kills were there. And we talked about constantly throughout this series and constantly throughout this map was that LG just had the better placement. They had the better positioning. And if you're Gravity Gaming, you're going to go back and watch this series and say, okay, where were those nades coming from? What nades do we need to learn? What is the exact positioning that we need to have when it comes down to our offensive pushes or even our defensive pushes? Because constantly when it came down to the offensive sides for the side of LG is that they were tossing over those nades at exact placements, and they were able to get that bomb down on B, aka in that radio tower positioning, every single time. And this is going to be a map that I think we're going to see LG really strive on, because of course, they do have the AR control. We've obviously seen that Slack can rock one in this game. We know of JKap's history with that. We, of course, know of Octane's dominance with a number of different assault rifles ever since Advanced Warfare. And they also have a guy like John, who is absolutely destroying in that last series. I forget how many kills he ended up having in map number 1, but without question was finding kills left, right, and center at all times. That one was, of course, on Gibraltar, where they won that one 250 to 129. But getting back here into St. Marie Dumont for map 2, the reason why I think we're going to see LG really prefer this map quite a bit is because, of course, the ARs that they can have on that B site, and then also when it comes down to Restaurant. Restaurant's really a major position to hold when it comes down to this map, and one that Gravity Gaming really needed to hold. But when you have such a strong SMG player like John, who obviously dominated them in map number 1, that's definitely sitting in the back of Gravity Gaming's minds throughout every single round, throughout every single kill. Where is John? Is he in Restaurant? Is he flanking around? Is he being a nuisance? Where is he at? Who's dying to him? All questions that were being asked from Gravity Gaming throughout that entire series, and one that they could never get the answer to, because there was always an FG42 waiting for them on a head glitch if they just killed John. So that's the thing when it comes down to positioning, is that the side of LG was a step ahead every single time, and Gravity could never rebound. Why? Because they were always having a nade in their face. And granted, there were a few rounds where things were looking good. Of course, we see Hate finish off 9-6. But if you want to beat a team like LG, you have to do your homework when it comes into search and destroy, because you're facing off against a group of veterans, a group who's obviously won countless titles, ones who have obviously won world titles, ones who's won 2. You also have John, who's a 2016 Call of Duty World Championship MVP. I mean, these guys, they know what to do when it comes down to it. They know how to win. They know how to play boots on the ground. And I think adding a guy like JKap to this team is huge for Luminosity, just because of the overall morale boost that he brings to Slack and Octane, who of course have played for a while, Slack longer than Octane. It just adds an overall veteran to the team, kind of a voice in the background that can kind of ease the pain, much similar to, I think, to like a squad like E United. Granted, different overall playing times for the different rosters, but still kind of provides a similar role to the team. And I was kind of curious coming into World War II, as we will head to a commercial break. Apologies for that. But one thing that I was really worried about when it came down to LG was John's performance. I think he absolutely is going to be the X factor for this team. Granted, playing against Gravity Gaming, it's not an optic, it's not a phase, it's not a insert team name here. It's not one of the best squads when it comes to World War II, but you can definitely see his overall presence means a lot. It means a map 1, it means a map 2, it means an overall series that can go hit their way if John's playing well and with that PPSH in hand. Granted, he doesn't have his duo of Apathy anymore, so he has to get the sub role done by himself. And of course, they do it in that last series, winning our quarterfinal 2-0 in pretty dominant fashion in each of these maps. And this is definitely a squad to be looking out for as they do progress toward our first semifinal. So as we wave goodbye to another team Our overall amount of squads left in the 4v4 variant for November 16th starts to slim down. LG definitely being a squad to be looking out for, as I'm sure they were probably on everyone's radar in the first place. But of course, before we do head to a commercial break, I want to give a massive shout out to our sponsors. Of course, major thank you to Origin PC, Acquire Clothing, Scuff Gaming, and Zowie, a brand by BenQ. Major thank you to our sponsors for, of course, making tournaments like this one happen. Of course, live here from the UMG studio tonight. But guys, we're going to head to a commercial break. When we return, we've got more awesome matches, for tonight's tournament. Of course, we'll have all of those at the end of this quick commercial break.